Hello, everyone, and welcome to ELIAN'S Joy. I am so excited to be here today on this channel, Win Win Women. Very excited to be with you. It is a Saturday here. It's a beautiful day, and I was gonna kind of dress up this morning, but then I thought it was more time for a fun day. So I'm wearing my hippie vibe t-shirt and kind of checked it out for you. And I thought, well, it is fun. I can wear that, and I'm going to do that today. So I am so super stoked about this spring coming up and the beautiful season. So we're here, and thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with me. I have a great story today for you to tell, and I'm going to share a story with you about hope and faith and inspiration and just really being determined and knowing the outcome. And this is a really great story that I used to, that I told my son when he was really young. And I'm going to tell you what we did with it. I am Elian Haan. This is ELIAN'S Joy. My goal here is, of course, to share and care a fun time, a time of feeling, a time of healing, a time of being in the moment. Most of my shows I share about the mind, body, spirit connection. This is kind of the mind month. So we have a happy mindset. And I want you to do that with me, that we're going to just have a great, positive thinking, happy mindset today. And I'm going to share this story because you'll get there. And that is so awesome about this story. We're going to be in a place of joy afterwards. I hope you will be in a place of joy with me and staying in that place of joy for a long time when you get this little story from me. It is so fun. I ran about this. I don't know how I ran about this story. Um, but this story came across me, came by me a long time ago. And the motto of the story was "Today is the day." And I thought that was just kind of a great saying. Today is the day. Today is the day that something inspiring is going to happen, something great is going to happen. You're going to hear something that will lift you up. You're going to hear something positive. You're going to hear some good things about yourself that I, in my former life, not so self-esteem good and not so confidence good life, that I had to hear. And still nowadays, even if I'm in a better place, mind, body, spirit wise, I need to just hear these uplifting things sometimes, right? Because we get it kind of off track. We kind of lose it sometimes. We have our off days. And even if I am an energy healer and dealer, as they always say about me, right? Not such a bad title. But if I hear that, then I think, well, I have many and plenty days that I am in a sad place or in a down place or stressed out or very worried. Very normal to have a high anxiety level nowadays. And as a life coach and wellness coach, counselor, I deal with people that are physically having a lot of issues in their tissues. And sometimes that physical manifestation is because we have a lot of problems. We hold on to trauma, we hold on to pain, we hold on to grief. And because of that, I try as a coach and as a counselor to lift people up. But because of that, we just need a lot of positive thinking, right? Sometimes we need to change our mindset a little bit and get into a better positive mindset. So I ran into this story and I loved it so much. And I am in Texas, so I'm not close to where I hope that my Florida folks know this story. But I ran into this story about Mel Fisher. Mel Fisher was born in 1922 and wanted to be a diver, a treasure hunter. A treasure hunter. Not everybody comes up with that, right? But he was really, really, really determined to be a treasure hunter and opened in the early 50s a small dive shop in Florida, and it was called Sea da Sea. Sea da Sea. And he was just really excited to go down to the bottom of the ocean every day and dig up some treasures. And in his Florida shop, he met his wife in the early 50s, and she went to work with him in the shop. She actually became one of the first women ever to hold a record of 50 hours underwater, one of the first women in the diving world. So this was really interesting. And Dolores, Dio, and Mel got married, had 4 sons and 1 daughter, and engaged everybody in the diving business. Um, and what happened here is that just day after day, they went to the bottom of the ocean to find at some point really bigger treasures. And Mel had his mind set on the Etosha. And the Etosha was a huge Spanish galleon ship that had sunk somewhere around Florida and on the Florida Keys, and didn't find it. And that was that was from the 18th century. That ship they had sunk, and there was tons of valuables on board, and nobody had found it. So Mel had set his mind on finding that treasure, and so he went to the bottom of the ocean every day. And now the fun story goes. Wikipedia gives us just a fact, but behind the scenes, Google, the fun story goes that Mel said to his kids every day, "Today is the day." Today, I just lit up when today is the day. And that's a good one because as a teenager or a young adult, you don't really want to, or as a little one, you don't really want to get on that boat every day. And it went, of course, the early ones were not as fancy as the ones we have now with diving bubbles and drop down vacuum things that you can drop down on the bottom of the ocean, right? And that you can just kind of like look around. In those days, it was really just like a harsh living. Think about storms, think about rain, think about weather, think about all that stuff that comes at us every day. And why would you want to go when it's cold and you want to dive to the bottom of the ocean? I don't. So in the days, Mel Fisher was known to tell his family and to tell the world, people around him and people that were working with him, today is the day. Today is the day for a positive mindset. Today is the day. Every day, that was just what drove him. So much belief, so much faith, so much hope, and so much knowledge that if he held on to that thought, that it would actually come true. And I'm sure he had his off days, just like we all do. I'm sure he had days of, and I mean, who wants to, right? All the time. And it's just so difficult sometimes. And you have to deal with so many weather circumstances and things like that. And just, they did that. Mel and his wife and his family. Now, here in the early 50s, he starts finding, early 70s, in 1972, they find, actually his oldest son finds some bars of silver and some cannons on the bottom of the ocean. Today is the day. Right, so now they're really motivated to see if there is more. And so everybody's diving down, and between 1972 and 1975, Mel Fisher found the Nuestra Senora de Otosha, the mother lode of that ship on the bottom of the Florida Keys ocean. They found it. And they started bringing up gold, silver, emerald, really, really, really top quality emerald, and all the artifacts, right? Cannons and everything that was on board, stuff that was on board. And they found a total of, what was it? I need to $450 million. $450 million ultimately they brought up from the bottom of the ocean. Spare change, $450 million from the mother lode, as they refer to that now, on the bottom of the ocean. And nowadays, that is stored in a museum in Florida, in the Florida Keys in Key West. And there's a museum, the Mel Fisher Museum is there, and all those artifacts are stored. At some point, um, just right after they found it, his oldest son died and shipwrecked with his wife and another co-worker. And Mel lost his son. There was lots of grief and lots of trauma, but they brought that mother lode to the surface. At some point, of course, the state of Florida comes around and says, we want kind of like a big percentage of that. So Mel had to go to court for another 8 years of litigation, and ultimately they won. His company won, and they could keep the money in the company. The fun thing is that I just recently saw on CNN a documentary where Mel's son, one of his sons, is still diving for treasures and has a huge treasure company and has now these really fancy boats with all that radar and all that good stuff on it. But can you believe it? How inspiring that story is, and what a great motivator that story was for me to tell my son when he was young. So ultimately, they could keep the money and it went into the company. But for years and decades and decades and decades, they had to try. They had to try and they had to keep that belief. Today is the day. My son was maybe 5, 6, 7 years old when I came across that story. And that became our motto. So I told him the story. It's a great story to tell children. It's just great, great, great. I told him the story, and he loved it. He loved it. So every morning when I would bring him to school in the car, when you have that wonderful time with your kids, I brought him to school in the car. And I said, "What is today?" And we said both out loud, "Today is the day. Today is the day." And then on top of that, I would say, "Make it a great day." Because as a coach and a counselor and life coach and sort of a wisdom kind of annoying mom, right? You always want to give all those stories to the kids that make them wiser and make them better and all that stuff. So as the therapeutic mom, I always had those stories, but this one he could really relate to as young as he was. And it was also important for me to tell him that he could think and act his way through the day in a way that he would set his mind to, right, in a positive way. So today is the day. Make it a great day. And up to today, I still say that, not just to him, but to everybody, because when you say something like, "I hope you have a great day," that's very nice and very polite and what we do. And most of the time, we don't even think about it. And of course, I find myself probably saying that as well. Have a great day, just kind of wish onto somebody. But if you say, "Make it a great day," then you kind of give the power back to them, right? You give people immediate power to be in control of how they're gonna do that day and what they're gonna do with it and what they're gonna do with information and how you're gonna react. You're gonna react from a positive place, from a positive mindset, or maybe you just need to walk it off and take a deep breath and then come back, right? That's one of the other things that we teach. But the story of Mel Fisher, not so difficult to remember. Fisher, Mel Fisher Museum. Mel Fisher Museum in Key West, Florida. That's where the mother lode, as they call that, of the Atrocia is today. And years later, so I started using that with him and I started kind of brainwashing in a very gentle way, very nicely said, my son into a positive mindset in the early morning. Right? We all have our days that we don't want to go to school, or that we just, or we were just even maybe a little arguing, or hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, come, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go, you're going to be late. But then in the car, just take a deep breath and settle down, look around you. You're in a great place. Attitude of gratitude. Today is the day. Today is the day that your teacher is going to tell you something nice or give you a good grade. Or today is the day that you're going to pass an exam or you're going to pass that test. Or today is the day that you're going to make a new wonderful friend that you will have for the rest of your life. Or today is the day that people will lift you up. So make it a great day. Make it a great day. Today is the day. Make it a great day. I love that message so much. I love that message so much. Years later, we went on vacation to Florida. And we went all the way down. I mean, it was just all the way down, what is it, West Coast and to Key West and all the way back up East Coast. Just a sightseeing and a lot of kid fun and holding crocodiles and seeing, going into or go into the ocean and go to the beach and go in deep dive Florida and we went to Key West. And the first thing I said to my son, we're gonna, of course, go to the Mel Fisher Museum. That was the plan. And it was a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful experience. By this time, he was maybe 11, 12 years old. So much to see. All those beautiful treasures from the ship are stored in that museum. You can see cannons, you can see jewelry, you can see the emeralds, you can see the gold and the silver coins, and all the gold and the silver artifacts and bronze artifacts that they found. Up to today, or a couple of years ago, up to factual 2017, they say that maybe still half of everything that the Atrocia was carrying is still maybe on that ship and is still down on the bottom of the ocean. So they assume that only half of all this gold and silver and all this wealth that was on the ship, that only half of it was found. So people are still going down there and hoping to find more. But can you believe what an enormous, enormous uplifting story just to believe that you're going to do it and actually find it to become the reality. How amazing that is. So we went to that museum. Museum has just tourist stuff. So we got our coins, the coins from the Atocha on a little cord and got, to wear that so that we were even more into the today is the day mode. So I find that such an uplifting story, and it did fit to my life, because if I always say my former life and now, I was really waiting in my former life on I talk about that with you a lot, on things to happen, things to fall in place. I was waiting on maybe a great husband, and then I would be happy. Or if somebody knocks on my door and offers me an amazing job, then I'll be happy. Or even more money on the current place that I am in, or the current position. I would like to make more. Or the things that I could do that would make everybody see me and knock on my door. And I just was waiting kind of on the world to fill all that happiness for me. I was kind of waiting on the world to make it fall in place and to make me happy. And all those years of seeking, right? Seeking people that you might be happy. Maybe I have a baby, then maybe I'm going to be happy. Or maybe when I have a family, I'm going to be happy. Or when I can buy that house and a nice car, I'm going to be happy. And all these things that you're looking for. And you're finding and you're just looking, but you're looking in the wrong place. And I can even go on and on and on, but I'll share that another moment with you. And I share a lot of that in my book that will be coming out this springtime. But a lot of these stories of waiting and waiting and waiting and looking in the wrong places, doing the wrong things when it comes to that. Didn't see the red flags. So after years of going through transition into transformation, as I call that now, all these years I did that self-help, that study, that trying to find where I need to be, trying to find your purpose. What am I doing here? What is my why, as we talk about so much, right? What is my why? Why am I here? I had to find that, and I did go through it. And then I found that that's that ego that was saying, see me, and make me happy. Please, world, please, people, please, babies, come make me happy. That had nothing to do with the work that I had to do coming to that transformation. Instead of expecting everybody to make me happy, I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to become really, really, really happy so that everything would just fall in place. So that I absolutely didn't have to rely on anything else. I didn't have to rely on people, places, events, circumstances, things for that matter. I know too many people that are not really in that place yet. You might have 3 cars, you might have 4 houses, you might have it all, but you're just not really in that place where you can say, without anything at all, I am still at peace. And peace is always different than just happiness, right? Happiness can be taken away from you by the same people and places and circumstances and events. But if you're just at peace and you have that feeling that every day there's a today is the day, today, you stay in it today. You're not waiting on tomorrow to be filled in. You're not constantly living in the past. But you just have this faith and this peace inside. And you know, because you have that, you always have hope that if it goes wrong, that everything will be okay. And that is so important to me. It's so important to me. That's why I love to share that with you. And I know you know this, but it's so important not just to live into that, I'm happy, somewhat, but just in this deep sense of peace that even when I'm grieving and horrible things are happening, of course, and I have anxiety, I have pain, I have grief, I have all that stuff, just like everybody else. But what I do with it is I have an inner sense of peace that I know that my higher power knows best and knows what's good for me and knows that the outcome afterwards, reflecting on what happened, is always a learning experience. It's not always fun. It's not fun to say goodbye to somebody. It's not fun to lose. It's not fun to go through trauma and horrible accidents, things that are in nature, loss of home and all that stuff that happens around us. But if you keep the faith, if you know that there is a message, if you trust that message, if you trust the outcome will be okay, and that from there on you can do something with it. Sometimes we have to seek long. There's nothing okay in losing your family, losing your home. There's nothing right about that, even years later. But you might keep that faith so strong, you might keep that belief that there will be something there. You might keep that belief that there's a reason, there's a purpose, because maybe 20 years later, maybe 30 years later, you'll be speaking about it to other people, helping others with your story. So that is just such a deep sense of purpose and a deep sense of faith. It's a motivation for me. I cannot motivate you. I can inspire you to do the same thing for yourself. I cannot motivate you. You're your own motivator. And that story was a motivation for me. That story was very motivating for me. It's an inspiration for me. The story of Mel Fisher and what he did with it in his life by saying, tough times, hard times, horrible weather, today is the day. And then my little Elianism, that after that said, make it a great day. Just make it a great day. If you are ever in Florida, and if you get a chance, go to that museum and soak up the story. Tell it forth. Tell your children, tell your grandchildren. It's such an inspiration. And as I use it for my son, who came out all right, who is doing great and is definitely a positive thinker, that's the most important. He's still young, so you can still you don't know life. You think he thinks he got life by the tail. But you still have so much to do and there's so much to come at you. But if you instill that somehow in people, and you can share that story, and you can make that a kind of a daily thing that will stick with them daily, or that they can inspire, they can motivate themselves with, that it's an inspiration, then let's do that. Let's change the world by making it a better place. I screamed that when I was only 15 years old. I'm going to change the world. And I had no clue. And how many times have I used my pain and my grief now? Didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, but how many times have I not used that to be in the place where I am today, being able to share and maybe light up somebody's day, make them smile, give them joy, wear a silly t-shirt. Yeah, I am an ex-hippie. I am. I got vibes. I got lots of energy vibes. We talk about that so much. So I want to give you energy. I want to give you joy. I want to make you smile. I want to make you laugh. Let's be silly. It's a beautiful day to be silly. Today is the day to be silly. So I hope you will do that also for yourself. I would love that. Smile. It's a really good thing always. You need to lift yourself up. Even if you're feeling down, just smile. Today's the day. Just smile through it. I wanted to share that story with you because it had such a huge impact on me, on my family, and on our collective thinking in our little family. And then hopefully this collective thinking around me goes to my circle of friends, and goes to my church circle, and goes to my circle, my family, of course, and my acquaintances, and the circles are getting bigger, right? And then the circle of connections, and the circle of people you work with, and co-workers, and loving and caring people like yourself. Share it in your circles and make your circles bigger that way. And just kind of like tell the story once in a while. It's a real wonderful, fun story. It's all over, and you can find it everywhere, and kind of give your own little tweak to it. Today is the day. I hope it will stick with you. Today is the day. I am Elian Haan, and I would love to share more with you, so stick around. We're going to have a party. It's almost time for me to wrap it up. ELIAN'Haan.com, www.elianhaan.com. I'm going to have a couple of great seminars coming up and webinars coming up about some pain management at home. Pain management at home, which is really good for all of us because we're sitting so much. Lower back, hamstrings, all that good stuff. I'm having one coming up about anxiety and meditation techniques. Meditation is my medication. Remember, hashtag. And you can find my book soon. So write or send an email on my website that you want to be in the know about my book coming out this spring. What else do I have to share with you? Maybe vote for me. Go to my Facebook Elian Haan, and vote for me for an upcoming challenge at Yoga Journal, which is a great magazine with lots of information. And maybe I can share my story through Yoga Journal. Hope to do that, and have the opportunity to share with more and more people what I have to share with you. So connect and collaborate with me. We do that. We care. We care. We care. Win-win women. I was at some great shows this morning, and I enjoyed it. Listening to other people during the week. Do that. Click on our shows and go to Dr. Valerie's show this afternoon. Always amazing content. And just find us on winwinwomen.tv. If you do that, reach out and find all the inspirational stories from everybody and shows from everybody. I truly appreciate it that you're here. I truly love to share this story with you, and I was very excited today. Have a beautiful, caring, loving, and connecting day. I love you, and I hope to see you next week at ELIAN'S JOY. Your hostess of the mostest. Make it a great day. Today is the day.